In this episode, we are allowing the monsters to march for one more day, as I do a video that I didn't get around to doing last month. So, stick around. Hello, fellow dorks and dorkettes, and welcome to Nostalgia Syndrome. My name is Rob, and in this episode, we are going back to March for March of the Monsters for one more special episode. Yes, I know this is the beginning of April, but I really wanted to do this episode last month, but I did not have an opportunity to get to it. So, what we will be talking about in this episode are forgotten 80s monster toys. This is the fourth time we've taken a look at forgotten 80s monster toys, and there are plenty more to take a look at in the future. Unfortunately, a lot of them are cross categories, so you have gross out, movie, TV show, what have you. So I tried to find ones that were purely monster toys, but there's a little bleed over here and there. But anyway, without further ado, let's get to number one. Our first forgotten 80s monster toy is probably the more popular or famous of the ones on this list. This is the Infaceables that were released by Galoob in 1984. Now, the Infaceables were an action figure, 8 in total, with 3 vehicles, that had a really awesome action feature. What they were known for were their face-changing transformations. And how you achieved that was, you grab the figure, and at the waist and chest you would pull up, and it would vacuum seal the rubber membrane face over a hard plastic skull, for lack of better terms, underneath, which would then change the features of the figure. And these were different things from monsters, animals, even a robot guy. So they encompassed a little bit of everything, and they were a really neat monster slash fantasy toy. Now, I never have had one, and I hear on the secondary market it's really rare to find one in good condition because of the rubber face covering deteriorates over time. Now, these were firmly in the sword and sorcery toy category, but I'm throwing them in the monster category because of their face-changing capabilities, because there were some, usually the bad guys, that had more of a horrific face. Saber-toothed tigers, things like that. But anyway, this commercial can explain a lot better than me, and it's got some awesome animation. So, here we go.
Infaceables,
Iron Lion,
Infaceables,
Acrobash.
Imagine mystic warriors of change. They are Infaceables.
Come to the universe of instant transformation,
Infaceables,
where you could command the powers of change.
Infaceables,
They come ready for battle,
imagine mystic warriors of change. They are Infaceables.
like a lube.
Our second monster toy comes from Arco in the year 1987, and these are Mad Scientist toys. Now, the Mad Scientist toys were based on the Mad Scientist lab kits, if you will, and monster kits, where you could dissect or boil alive your little monsters and create them and things like that. They were super cool looking. Never had one, but I always thought the commercials looked cool. But anyway, they also spawned these Mad Scientist bendy figures. There were 2 basic Mad Scientists released, But they also released a laboratory set and an operating room set that included many different accessories and little monsters and critters. The Mad Scientist figures, I think, are pretty cool. They're very vibrantly colored, come with really cool accessories with the bigger sets, and of course, little monsters. I have no idea about the popularity of this toy line when it comes to these bendy figures, so I'm pretty interested to see how much they go for in the secondary market, if they can even be found at all. Our next forgotten monster toy comes from Woolworth and was sold exclusively at their stores in 1986. And these are Monster Man. Not men, Monster Man. There were 6 in total, and they had names like Birdman, Fireman, stuff like that. They were non-posable action figures that looked to be made of either a vinyl or like a blow mold hard plastic. I don't know. It's not like I've ever had one of these in my hand to know for sure, but I'm just going by what pictures I have found. And, you know, to be honest, for them being like a generic toy sold in a 5 and dime store like Woolworth, I think they're pretty cool. I mean, they are what they are. I mean, they would look cool displayed on a shelf, you know, pose them next to your like Godzilla or Ultraman figures, and I think they would fit right in. So, really curious if something like this has actually survived onto the secondary market. So, interested to see that. Our 4th monster toy actually shares its name with another toy line, but we are taking a look at the one released by Henstar. It's unknown what year throughout the 80s it was released, but this is definitely 80s gold. And this was something that was probably sold in different drugstores or what have you, because it's very generic. Anyway, this is Skull Force. All I can see that they released were a 2-figure set that features some really awesome artwork. The figures, of course, are Masters of the Universe styled, and one of them looks very Toxic Avenger-like with his drooping zombie-like eyes. And the other one is a skeleton with an eye patch. Yeah, this is definitely a generic toy, but lovingly inspired by some of the more popular toy lines at the time that utilized this body style. So, I ain't hating. I think they're pretty cool regardless. I mean, yeah. If I was a kid and I only had a few dollars in my pocket and this was what was in front of me, I'd definitely get it and add these guys to my Masters of the Universe Playtime universe. They would fit right in with, you know, Skeletor and all of his evil minions. I mean, it's a no-brainer. But anyway, this would be a cool troop building set to add to your Playtime universe, and yeah, I don't have very high hopes that we'll be able to find this out on the open market. Now, back in March, I did a video where I talked about toys that I wish I had when I was a kid. And one of those toys was the spider from Petster. Well, during my research, I discovered that there was another Petster toy that also fit the monster category, and I was kind of blown away that it actually existed. I actually stumbled upon it in a Christmas catalog, and since then I have been able to find its footprint, and I could mean that literally, across the collector's landscape. But this is Godzilla by Petster, released by Axelon in 1987. Now, like the other Petsters, Godzilla responds to voice commands. Just simple ones, like come here and do this and do that. And you could also put him in free roam mode where he would just growl and roar, his eyes light up red, and he just menaces around your living room. Now, I found pages from the user's manual, and it includes games that you can play with Godzilla. Now, mind you, for something that is the most rudimentary of robots and voice commands, these games are just more up to chance than actual skill, like soccer and things like that. I'll put a couple of the pages up as we're talking so you can see what I mean. But I think he would be an awesome addition to any Godzilla collection. And I actually found some that look like big Chungus versions of Godzilla. Some of them look very slim and Godzilla-like, and other ones look like they ate the entire population of Tokyo. And I think that is awesome. Okay folks, that was a look at 5 of the Forgotten 80s monster toys. As I said, this is the 4th installment of the Forgotten Monsters category that we've taken a look at. And yeah, I always enjoy looking at different monster toys throughout the different eras. We'll eventually, in the future, take a look at 70s, and of course, keep going back to the 90s for other monster toys and other various categories. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you got something to say, please leave a comment. I love reading them, and I love getting back to everyone. And if you're new around here and you enjoyed this, or any of the episodes that YouTube is recommending down here, please hit subscribe. And if you hit that little bell icon, you'll be notified whenever there's a new episode. So anyway, until next time, thank you for watching. Keep being rad, and stay dorky.